Hi, welcome to the Light Tackle Anglers Fishing Report. I'm Captain John Fulweiler, and this is Captain David King.
Hi.
Well, I guess this week we're going to start with inshore because we've been starting with offshore all the time.
There you go. We'll start in where it's a lot better fishing right now too with the weather.
Right, because you can actually get to fish because it's not so windy.
It doesn't matter what the wind's doing.
So Captain Captain Terry Lamiel up in Sebastian said, you don't have to get up real early anymore because it's the wintertime pattern.
So that gives you that extra hour of time in the morning, which is nice.
He says 9, 10 o'clock, get out there, fish deep till the sun gets up high, maybe noon. And he said, then go really shallow on those darker bottoms.
Did he mention anything about water temperatures?
He said it was 56 degrees today when he was out there.
That's cold.
That's cold. He actually saw some snook that were floating. So the smaller snook that didn't know to get off those flats actually are getting stunned.
Wow. So it's early for that. Usually that's January, February for us. So wow, it's going to be a long winter.
So he said fish deep. He said there is some flounder in the inlet. And the mangrove shores tend to be a little bit darker, so fish around those spots. He also said the pompano are really running. You look for them to skip, and then you kind of circle around there and fish in that area. And the Spanish Max, of course, look for birds. You know,
it's the time of the year for those to be coming down.
Look for bird anywhere, offshore, inshore. Usually the fish are around the bird.
There should be some of those pods of minnows coming down, so if you see those minnows, I'd hang tight because you know in a few minutes they're going to show up around those.
Right. And Mike Mayer up in Sebastian also said the snook are in the inlet real good. He's been using live bait. The pinfish seem to be about the best. Both tides, he said, were good.
Right.
I guess offshore up there in Sebastian.
Offshore, it's not a really big report because of the conditions and the amount of times that the boats have been able to get out. But the reports are still good. They're still getting good sailfish action, and that where the color changes are, I think they were saying anywhere from 95 to 135 feet they were getting the first color changes. Because we had that little bit of east wind, then it went southeast, now it's southwest, coming west. Goes back to the north with these fronts, so the conditions are changing every day. But they're still picking up the dolphin on those color edges, which should have good pods of those sailfish coming down.
Nice.
There's also kingfish inshore, not big numbers, but there's kingfish on the bar. Same with the bottom fishing, they're still getting the grouper. The snapper, not as good as they were because I think you're feeling that water temperature go down a few degrees, which might slow down that bite just a little bit till the fish get used to it. But they're picking a lot of bottom fish, the triggerfish, the sea bass, stuff like that on the bar.
Right.
So you're getting good stringer fish, but they're having limited days. So that's what's kind of happening out of the Sebastian area right now.
Well, let's move to Fort Pierce then. Inshore, Captain Charlie Joyner said that the pompano are really showing up. Just the flats near the inlet seem to be about the best. He's been using little jigs, some tipped with shrimp, some not tipped with shrimp. But there's always a lot of ladyfish, bluefish, and Spanish mackerel around where the pompano are. So if you start catching the ladyfish, slow it down just a little bit. They seem to be a little bit above the pompano. Slow it down and work it slow, and a lot of times that's where the pompano are. The offshore?
Yeah, well, another thing on the inshore, one of the guys that gave me a report said he found a little bit of a clear water strip in the river. The pompano he found in that clear water, that, you know, where you've got those eddies from the Taylor Creek water, stuff like that. He found some pompano in that clear edge. I know pompano do like clear water too, so same thing on the beach, you know, when you have that clear water. Pompano seem to like to get there. Offshore Fort Pierce, it's a little bit different than the one off Sebastian, the same report. It's weather conditions, getting the boats out. The sailfish are still showing up. They should get better and better as the weeks come into December. These cold fronts are moving those fish south, you know, pretty rapidly. Same thing, they're getting dolphin coming through. We didn't hear of any tuna this week. I didn't hear of those like we did last week and the week before, but you still got your dolphin and your sailfish. We heard of no cobia, but the bottom fishing's still about the same. When you can get out, they're getting some good catches of grouper, snapper, and stringer fish. A few of the people were doing pretty good in 55 feet, we heard. The divers said the clarity, last week they had one day that was really good, and they saw quite a few grouper on the bottom. They saw a lot of lobster, which is a real good sign. You know, when we get some good weather, you're going to see that the fishing is probably going to be really good. It's a great time of the year for the bottom fishing, sailfish, dolphin, everything. I mean, we're prime time to have some good fishing if we can just get the weather conditions.
Exactly.
And I've heard this weekend going to kick up a little bit again and then go back down. So if you can get out there, there should be some really good fishing off Fort Pierce right now, north and south.
Great. All right, inshore in Martin County. I talked to John B's Fly Shop and Light Tackle. He said, again, look for the skipping pompano. They've been using sand fleas. He says he likes to put with the sand fleas some kind of bright color, a red, a yellow, a chartreuse with it. I don't know what that does, but it seems to attract them. He also said in the South Fork there's some snook. The South Fork has the dark bottom, so it tends to be maybe just a little bit warmer in the afternoon. He said don't troll in the channel, just off of the channel from like 5 to 6 feet with a lure that goes basically that, you know, that deep. And they're kind of sluggish, so make sure you get it right in their zone. Offshore?
I think this fish might be pulling up on that edge to get the warmth, maybe? Is that kind of what you're thinking? Yeah.
That's what they were saying.
Offshore, Stuart, we haven't heard a lot of reports on the bottom fishing. They've been some mutton snapper, you know, some mangrove snapper, lanes. It's the time of the year that the lanes start moving in. When the water gets cold, our lane snappers start pulling into the area. You'll see them first a lot out of Jupiter, Stuart. Then you'll see them off the power plant area, then Fort Pierce, and then on up towards Sebastian.
And those are the bigger fish too.
And yeah, those fish, I mean, they come close to world record size, 5, 6, 7 pounds.
Exactly.
I've been within ounces many a times, but can't quite get there. But we get our biggest lanes will be the end of this month, December, January, February, and then March. Where the water warms up, you'll see them just kind of dissipate again. So the bottom fishing's good, limited time out there. The boats are doing good. The head boat out of Stuart did pretty good, but they only had limited days too. So I think the fishing's really good. Sailfish, dolphin, the same thing. Push Button Hill should be good. We just need to get the conditions to be able to get out there.
I had a report, I forgot to share this with you, but on Push Button Hill, they were saying they were catching some dolphin out there.
Some dolphin. Any blackfins out there, anything, or just mainly dolphin?
No, they just said dolphin. Yeah. Okay, so let's move down to Jupiter.
Okay.
I didn't really get much of an inshore report in Jupiter. Most people there seem to go offshore, so let's just do the offshore.
Okay, Captain Joe Dobbins had been doing pretty good. He'd been doing good on the sailfish and dolphin. He'd been mainly targeting, I think, between 180 and 200 feet, where he seemed to be doing his best on the trolling out there. They've been getting scattered kings, you know, everywhere out there. You get the kings a little deeper than you do down off Fort Pierce and Stuart. I mean, we've caught the kingfish out in 200 and 300 feet out there. A lot of times they'll bite real good on the bar, and as you get towards dark, they'll pull out 110 to 150 feet on that drop-off out there. Also, they've been getting some mutton snapper, you know, not quite as good as it was. Also, it might be the limited time. They're still doing good on the yellowtails, up to about 100 feet out there. They've been doing pretty good. As you move in a little bit closer, they've been catching some Spanish mackerel, and along the beach, the same thing. They've been catching the Spanish mackerel off the beach down there.
Well, it's time for them to move in.
Right. And then I think some of the boats were doing good going back towards the Loran Tower Ledge, you know, getting some dolphin, snapper.
Right.
Of course, that's one of the better areas for muttons. This time of the year, if you can catch them just right, there's a few caberas still coming in there, but we haven't heard reports of any.
All right. Palm Beach. Again, it's mainly offshore down there because people just go down there for the sailfish bite.
Right, it's so close down there that it makes it nice.
Yes.
Well, down there at the Grand Slam, they've been talking about a lot of dolphin and sailfish. Anywhere from, I think they've been starting 110 to about 300 feet is where they've been doing the best down south. Kings have been a little bit farther inshore, 60 to 90 feet. And once again, as you get towards dark, the fish seem to fall out in that 110 foot or deeper on that drop off. So the fish have been inshore, and then as the weather goes down, as the sun goes down, they seem to be moving a little bit farther offshore.
You know, nothing about wahoo this week.
No, it's really weird. November's a good wahoo. They did good on the corner over there in the last few weeks.
Right.
With the weather, I don't know if the boats have been running to the corner, so maybe we haven't had the reports. Exactly. They also have been getting a few yellowtails in 90 to 120 feet off Palm Beach, which is the same area those kingfish seem to go to right at dark. But no wahoo reports at all to report, which means lack of anglers or lack of fish. I'm not sure. They should be there,
lack
though.
Of anglers.
If we get good weather, you should be able to get those wahoo, though.
So thank you for joining us. Look for us on lighttackleangler.com. We're going to be blending the two sites together, so it won't be so hard to find us. I know that's kind of a problem right now, but if you could, send your pictures, send your stories, any reports. We'd love to report to everybody else. So again, we thank you.
Thank you very much.